Hello, Earthlings. So the video today is going to be about something that just came out on Prime Video, a documentary or movie, whatever you want to call it, called The Age of Disclosure. And it's about 34 government insiders revealing what they know about UFOs or UAPs. So I'm not really making this video saying that there's evidence, direct evidence that aliens exist or anything, but this is just a logical hypothesis of what the evidence and what we know could mean. And you can watch this, like I said, on Prime Video. You can buy it for about $15 if you want to rent it, and you can see for yourself. I think it's a good watch and it's pretty interesting. So the indirect evidence that they talk about of a UFO or UAP, so unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomena. One of the best evidence is this picture, which was taken by a fighter jet, and it's actually a video you can see in the documentary. They show many different videos like this, and it just shows objects that are flying at high speeds up to 40,000 miles per hour and doing things that don't really go along with our current understanding of physics or any of the technology that we know exists. So they changed the name UAP instead of calling it UFO because UFO is associated with a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So they really wanted to bring this to the scientific level so we can actually study it and figure out what it is. But in both names, it's unidentified. So it could be a drone from another country that we're not aware of. It could be something that the government has that we aren't aware of. It could be something that's happening on Earth, some physical phenomena that we're not aware of. It could be a lot of things. But one of the hypotheses is that it could be an alien craft from a different planet. And that's not really as crazy as it might sound because it actually would make sense that there is some intelligent life out there if you break it down from a statistical or scientific perspective, which is what I'll get to in the next image right here. So, what I think is the most convincing evidence is that life started very quickly on Earth. The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and they have signs of life starting as far as 3.9 billion years ago. So life started even before the heavy bombardment of Earth when meteors were still crashing down to Earth because accretion wasn't over. Planets were still forming, and the Earth was still forming. And even then, life somehow popped up. So if life started so fast on Earth, it's not so crazy to think that life started on another planet. And since the universe is over 13 billion years old, there might even be older civilizations and life that has started on other planets a lot longer ago than would happen on Earth. And statistically, that makes sense because of the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is very paradoxical because life seems to be highly probable in the universe. However, we haven't found any direct evidence yet that is at least known throughout the public. So, why is life highly probable? Well, there's over 10 billion Earth like planets in the galaxy, in the Milky Way, and there's over 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. So, since life started so fast on Earth, and you had 10 billion chances just in our galaxy, then it's highly probable that there is life somewhere out there. And that's just assuming that you need an Earth like planet in order for life to emerge, which I would say You probably don't, because on Earth, life only uses about 20 amino acids and 4 nucleotides, which are the chemical bases of life. But there's actually a lot more amino acids and nucleotides that isn't used for life on Earth. And those other molecules have different chemical properties that might enable life to emerge on other environments besides Earth-like planet. So that would make the likelihood of life emerging on other planets even more probable than what was currently stated here. So let's say that there is a bunch of intelligent civilizations in the Milky Way, and they are interested in what we're doing here. So what could they be doing? What would their perspective be? And I would say that their perspective would be similar to the way we ask questions and do science on Earth. So they would be examining or probing us. So on Earth, scientists control these environments, like in cell cultures, when we do experiments in biology, and we really control the environment and make sure that the cells are happy and living their normal lives and have everything they need to live and proliferate and do whatever they want to do, so that we can make little bitty changes and probe their environment and understand how their behavior changes and how that might have different outcomes from one dish to another. So aliens could objectively be doing the same thing. They don't want to just come here and cause chaos. They want to control the environment and understand us and see what we're doing, because they want to understand us from a scientific perspective. They want to probe our environment. So they would make sure to not chaotically disrupt any of the ecosystem on Earth, the government, anything, but they might just make little subtle changes, maybe revealing themselves slightly here and there, just to see how they react, how we react to them. So that makes a lot of sense to me, because if they do have the technology to get here, they're surely smart enough to know that they shouldn't just show up and try to shake our hands, because we are not very nice to each other. We're definitely not nice from one country to another. And if aliens just showed up somewhere, there would probably be half the countries on Earth ready to blow them up. And since they have very high technology, hypothetically, uh, they would probably start a war and demolish us. But I don't think that's what they want. I think they have, if they can get here, their technology is good enough to sustain themselves. And what they would really be interested in is learning from us and trying to get an understanding of life on this planet so that they can use that knowledge for other things. So the take home, I think, is interesting and very imaginative and fun to think about. And it's, if you've gotten bored with humanity, and I think that's very easily, especially these days, with a lot of the redundant things that are happening, then you can look into aliens and maybe imagine what they might be doing and watch this documentary and start to form your own hypothesis about what it can be, whether you think it's just a physical phenomenon that we don't understand, whether you think it's aliens, whether you think it's AI in a different country, whether you think it's the United States that has technology that we don't understand. Doesn't matter what your hypothesis may be, as long as you think logically about it and express yourself and have fun with it and make the day more interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful day.